Hi, this is Liz Thompson, National Education Manager of Janome. I thought I knew how to switch the camera, but that little icon has disappeared from the screen. So you're getting me poking my head around the corner of my camera that's set up for the machine. So good morning to you all. It's still morning here in BC at 10 a.m. and it's a beautiful sunny day. So just know it is sunny in Vancouver. We've had beautiful weather lately, so I hope you're having just as beautiful weather, and I hope you're all very well and keeping well. Okay, enough of my face. Let's move on to our Instagram Live today. If you've been tuning in during the rest of the week, you will have noticed that on Tuesday, Erin did a Instagram Live on a very cute little zipper pouch. That was a Welt pocket pouch, and that was on Tuesday. The video for it will be posted to our Janome Life YouTube channel in due course. And then yesterday, Amanda in Toronto did another little project, and I don't know that you can see the whole of it, but it was another zipper pouch where you laid the zipper over the top of the fabric and then stitched it down. This is not her one, this is one that I did, but it's exactly the same principle, and that also will be posted to our Janome Life YouTube channel in due course. Okay, so what we're going to do today is we are going to do another little zipper pouch because quite frankly, I'm crazy about zipper pouches. I think we use them for all sorts of things. And as an educator with Janome Canada, I find it very difficult to keep track of all my feet and accessories and threads and needles and whatever. So I have umpteen little baggies that I use, not to mention what we might use for toiletries, medicine, makeup, cosmetics, you name it. All right, so first of all, I want to show you something here. This is a little bag that I made many years ago before I knew about the method I'm going to teach you today. And do you notice that on the ends of the bag, it's really not all that great. The zipper just comes to a sudden stop in the side seam. Here is another one where it just comes to a sudden stop in the side seam and the same on the other end. So those are what I call my bad samples. What we have here is another sample. Again, I'm not sure if you can see the whole thing. Maybe if I put it here behind the machine, you might see better. No, let's do it like this. Do you see that I have a little tab here on the end of the zipper so that it's much neater where it goes into the side seam on both sides of the zipper? So we're going to show you that today. But before I get going with that, I just wanted to give a shout out to all our Janome Canada dealers. They're doing a great job under very difficult and extraordinary circumstances that we're all living under. So I just wanted to say, if there's anything that you're missing at home, I've almost run out of zippers. I don't quite know what I'm going to do without my dealers to call up and say, please would you mail to me some zippers, here's my credit card number, and so on. Many of our dealers are still open for business in terms of online ordering, telephone orders, and some are even doing curbside pickup. So please make use of your dealers. We really do want them all still to be there for us at the end of this horrible health crisis. Okay, right. What we're first of all going to do is we are going to have a zipper. That's the first thing you need, is a zipper. I prefer a nylon zipper because there's less accidents. I mean, I definitely wouldn't even try to sew over metal zipper teeth, but nylon teeth, definitely I can sew over, and I do prefer that. What I did was I used my little Chaco liner to make a mark on my zipper. And how did I know where to make that mark? Well, this is a block that I embroidered in the hoop of my embroidery machine. There's another one. Those are going to be the two sides of my zipper bag. And I have a couple of other things to show you before we get going with the actual baggie. And let me pull my thread straight before we lose that. You might say, well, what on earth can I put on my bag? What should I use for my zipper pouch? Well, this happens to be an embroidery that I did some years ago. Here is another one. So if I was to put that embroidery and back it with a little bit of batting and some backing fabric, I would have one side of my little zipper pouch. And here is another one. Lots of decorative, bright, vibrant decorative stitches that was done in the embroidery hoop. And that could also be a nice little bag with a plain black fabric on the back of the bag. So those are just some ideas for you of what you can use for a zipper pouch. So back to our zipper. If we lay our zipper on the bag, you do need to have a zipper that is a little longer. And let me move this down a little bit so that you can see better. I think that, yeah, that's better. You can see that it is a little bit longer than the width of my pouch. And the reason for that is you do not want to be mucking around with a zipper that is too short. It's going to drive you crazy. So you will need to put the zipper onto your pouch, and then with your lining, your fabric liner, fabric marker, you are going to make a mark on your zipper a 1/2 inch in from each side of the fabric you're using, or your quilted piece that you're using for your pouch. In other words, the zipper that you're going to end up using is going to be 1 inch shorter than your pouch. That's quite important. So remember that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do something that is probably going to alarm some of you. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm simply going to cut the end of the zipper off where I marked. Then on the other side, before I cut it, I do need to pull. There we are. I am pulling my zipper open, because if I cut it off and cut off the top of the zipper pull, then I'm going to be in trouble. So then just hold the two ends of the zipper together and cut it off where you previously marked, 1/2 inch in from each side. So there we have our zipper now cut. Be very careful with it. Don't go dancing with it, because you might pull the ends open and then you're going to be in trouble. So the next step is you need to have a piece of fabric that is I believe it's 1.5 inches. Yes, 1.5 inches wide, a strip of fabric. And what I did ahead of this presentation was I ironed it in half, and then ironed it in half again. So in effect, I've made like kind of a bias tape, except that it's not bias. This was on the straight grain of the fabric. And so it gets folded over, and I have these little, slightly larger than 1/4 inch tabs. So what you're going to do is you're going to put that tab into the fabric, and you're going to take a pin and pin it. And then you are going to sew that along the where your pin is. So I am sewing today on the Janome Continental M7, and I have it set up with a lime green thread, which is the color of the fabric I'm using, and that's in my bobbin and in my needle. And on the machine, I have our fabulous HP 2 foot, which is an HP foot combined with our AccuFeed Flex Plus foot. So it is phenomenally good at feeding fabric. And I have also got the HP plate on it, and that gives me a really, really good result. So I am now going to stitch all the way across, and then I'm going to stitch back again just to secure that, and then cut my threads. And then what we do after that is you trim your zipper tape just to the sides. You trim rather your lime green tab flush with the edges of the black zipper or whatever color zipper you're using. Now obviously you're going to do that to both sides of the zipper, and with the magic of television we have ours already done. So that is what your zipper will look like. It's all prepared and ready for insertion into our pouch. So the next thing is we come along with our pouch. This is another little piece that was actually stitched out in an embroidery hoop at a show at some point, and I just am using that for my little zipper pouch today. It has a backing and a little bit of batting, and the trick here is you are going to take that zipper and you are going to put it face down. All right, well, this one hasn't been trimmed, so let me just quickly do that. Trim off these little bits of fabric on either side of the zipper and toss those away. Michael, I saw you tuned in, and I was thinking, the way I was throwing things on the floor just now, I was thinking of Eleanor Burns, and I know you adore her, so it made me think that a little bit of her. Right, so what you're going to do now is you're going to put the zipper face down. In other words, right side of the zipper to right side of your pouch. And you're going to put that down with the zipper tape lining up with the edge of your pouch. You can use clips or pins, whatever you would like to use for this. And then you are going to come along here and you're going to stitch it down. Now, I've got my little zipper tab there. I'm just going to pull it out of the way and position my fabric under the foot. And I'm now going to sew with the edge of my foot going along the edge of my zipper tape and pouch. And then I saw something on the HD9 Facebook page the other day. A lady in the UK gave a tip about how do you get past the zipper pull, because it can be a little annoying. And she showed how to simply move your fabric at an angle and then bring it back. And it's much easier to get that little zipper pull out of the way. All right, so on we go. All the way down to the end, just a straight stitch with my HP2 foot, and I've cut my stitches. And then the very next thing, and I'm just going to cut my thread at the beginning because I'm somebody that doesn't like lots of threads in the way. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to flip this over so that your seam that you've just sewn is over to the left, and you're now going to come along and you're going to top stitch all the way along the edge of the fabric. In other words, your pouch, not on the zipper this time. You are just stitching all the way along the edge of your fabric, and that makes it sit nice and flat and behave itself, basically. So there we have our stitches all done, top stitched. Now obviously we're going to do exactly the same thing with the other side of this the bag. So this is the right side of the back of my bag or the front of my bag. They both got embroidery, so it could be a double-sided bag, and you choose which is the front and which is the back, doesn't really matter. And now we have got once again the other side of the zipper lined up. I'm not going to stitch that because you've seen me do it once. You know how it's done, and that is the next step. So here we are. This is another little bag that has been stitched on both sides. This still needs to be top stitched over here. That is still to be done, but on this little sample, it has already been top stitched on both sides. And this was another little sample that was done at a show many years ago, and I just cut it up for the purposes of this little presentation today. So what's the next step then? Okay, the next step is, and this is a very important step, you need to open the zipper, because if you don't, you're going to sew yourself into a corner and you're not going to be able to get out of that corner. So open the zipper, and now what you're going to do is you're going to lay the bag together and you're going to sew around the 3 open sides of the bag. Now you will notice that here is my tab. Do you see now why I had you do it 1 inch shorter, the zipper 1 inch shorter, because you've got a 1/2 inch to play with here and a 1/2 inch on the other side of the zipper. And that means you're not sewing right up to the zipper, and it is much neater and cleaner. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to ride with my HP2 foot along the edge of the fabric, and I'm going to start in a little bit and then reverse up and then come back again and go all the way down to the bottom and stop. Actually, it went a stitch too far. I've probably got the speed of my machine just a little bit too fast. And then I just wanted to point something else out to you, is did you notice that when I stopped at the corner, the needle went down into the fabric and the foot popped up? That is a feature on many of our Janome machines. And as I said to you earlier, I'm sewing on the Janome Continental M7, which incidentally has just received its second very prestigious award, the Red Dot Award. Both of the awards that have been presented have been reported on Janome Life. So if you want to read more about that, you can go to Janome Life and have a look. But this, I did want to mention that even though I'm sewing on the M7 today, this little zipper project can pretty much be done on any of our Janome sewing machines. It may not have all the bells and whistles that this machine has got, but you certainly can make the bag. All right, so I have used what we call the pivot function. The foot went up, I turned the corner, and now I'm off again along the bottom. Oh, that's too slow. I am somebody who really likes to go fast when I drive and when I sew. All right, now I pivot again, and then I'm up the last side or the third side of my little baggie. I will trim away that little bit that's sticking out. You can see that there. I will trim that out later. It wasn't quite the exact size as the front. And then I've just done a little back stitch, and there we are. Now, the next step is to open my zipper all the way. This zipper is not cooperating today. It's sticking a little bit. Well, never mind. I'll pull it through the space I've got, and when it's turned out, I will open it further. This is a fairly small little bag. The smaller they are, the trickier they are to, there it is, I got the zipper open. The trickier they are to turn out. But I do have a point turning tool, but before the presentation today, I couldn't find it. So guess what's on the agenda this weekend for the Easter weekend? I'm not going anywhere, so I am going to tidy my sewing room and get some order into my life. All right, so I've turned it. Do you see here I have a chopstick? And a chopstick is often very handy for poking the corners. Whoops, that one poked right through. Because my tab, there was a little bit of space at the end of my tab, which is fine, or you could close, you could make the seam a little deeper, and then you wouldn't have that. And then there is my little pouch. Both sides of it, it's great. I think that would be wonderful for keeping earbuds and cords for our tech equipment and so on. This here is another bag. I'm not going to sew it because I've shown you exactly how to do it. This one happened to have a blue zipper and little blue tabs that I sewed on the end of them. And all that remains on this one is to sew around the three sides. Now, this one that I showed you at the beginning, this was a piece of fabric that I decorated using this foot here. This foot is our border guide foot. It's one of my very favorites. It's called FB, F for Freddy, B for Bob. And it's got a bunch of lines on it. And we will do an Instagram live on this foot. I know we have done Janome Life posts on this foot. And what I did was I used it to position the stitches on my fabric so that they all went in beautiful straight rows. So this foot is a wonderful embellishment decorative stitch foot that you might want to think about using for one of your little pouches. I just wanted to show you another little pouch. This one has got the tabs on the end, and this is a little pouch that is a free pattern from Blue Color Patterns of Toronto. Just look up Blue Color Patterns, Google it, and you will find it. And then They don't all have to be the same. This one is what I call a humbug bag, where you sew your side seam, and then the other one you flatten it and you sew the side seam like that. So this one also has little tabs to make it much neater on the ends. Now, our little pouch we made today, I could go back, turn it inside out, and fold the corners on the wrong side and sew across so that it gets the little bottom, what I call a boxed bottom, on the bottom of the bag. I find that actually a really nice feature to add to a little pouch, because then when you go into the little bag, it's easier to find what's inside that bag. But if you were to do a pouch like this here, which is just kind of flat, and that one has not had the bottom boxed at all, that one would be more suitable for things like tablets or flat things. Okay, so let me see if I have forgotten to tell you anything. I have not actually been looking at the questions because it means I got to screw my neck around and I've been too busy sewing with you, but I will answer all the questions at a later point if there are some that need to be addressed. I want to mention as well that not only are Janome Canada doing Instagram lives at 10 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 1 p.m. Eastern. Look at Janome Life, and we will show you all the dates. We'll remind you of the dates and times of those Instagram lives. Tomorrow, Erin is up again. Yes, I know it's Good Friday, but she said she would still do the post. She is going to do a fully lined pouch with beautiful crisp corners. So if you want to have a look at that, tune in tomorrow to Instagram Live. All of these videos will be processed, edited, and put onto Janome Life YouTube channel next week, simply because I don't want our people to have to work on the long weekend. So I've told them that they can do it next Monday. Then also to mention to you, if you are looking for other inspiration and other ideas about Janome machines and features and functions on machines and feet and accessories, you can tune into Facebook, because Janome America is doing a Facebook Live every day at 3 p.m. Eastern. So you can also tune into that if you would like more information. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. And I hope you have learned something about zippers this week. We've got one more to go, as I said. Erin's up tomorrow, Janome Girl. But we will have more things for you next week. Thank you very much for watching.